Hello, Libra Risings. This is your monthly zodiac reading for the month of April 2025. As always, in case this reading doesn't resonate with you, please check your sun or your moon because that may be the area of life that is being activated the most this month, depending on the transits. Now, Libra, you guys get to experience a full moon in your sign. Yay! At least it's not an eclipse. And at least retrograde season is over at this point. I think. Maybe not Venus retrograde, but we'll get to that. As always, we're going to pull an overall energy theme for the month. We're going to pull tarot for each week, and then we're going to clarify that with more tarot, as well as correlate those messages to the astrological transits and wrap it up with some additional oracle guidance. So let's see what your main theme is for the month. We've got the Desert Prince in reverse. This is typically kind of like feeling doubtful. Be mindful of false promises. So be mindful of things that seem more than what they are, like mirages, right? When we think of the desert, we think, oh my God, we've been out there for forever. We're dying, we're thirsty, we're hungry. And then we see this beautiful, garden or this beautiful oasis in the middle of the desert. Typically that's perceived as a hallucination, right? It's a mirage. It's something that's not really there, right? So we're maybe we need to be mindful this month of wanting to see things through those rose-colored glasses. The first week we've got Venus retrograde having a little bit of a harmonious conversation with the North Node in Pisces, as well as Saturn in Pisces, right? Venus retrograde, reevaluating what it is that we value, the North Node in Pisces, going after our dreams, embodying surrender, and allowing ourselves to really focus on what we love, what we really want to achieve in this lifetime. But Saturn is also about experiencing boundaries, right? So how does us experiencing those boundaries inflicted by Saturn, how does that cause us to reevaluate what it is that we value or what it is that we believe we value? So let's see. Actually, I'm going to continue to go through the astrology. Here in the second week, Mercury is going to be moving into the sign of Pisces, or it's gone direct and it's gone direct in the sign of Pisces. So Mercury went retrograde within the sign of Aries, the early degrees of Aries, and it is now retrograded back into the sign of Pisces, and now it's direct in Pisces. So we're revisiting things that we had probably about a month ago when Mercury was in Pisces. Our thoughts, our communication, and our ideas can take on much more of a sympathetic and empathetic tone. We can also be a little bit more focused, or actually lack focus, because Pisces is boundaryless. It's the tendency to daydream. So we could really struggle with focus when it comes to that area. And also it could really be digging up some old wounds. Here in the third week, we've got the full moon in Libra. Full moons are a buildup of energy. They are a peak and a culmination. And the full moon illuminates things that we need to see. So for you guys, this is hitting your first house. Your first house is all about yourself. It is how people perceive you, and it is the lens in which you view the world. So this is going to be highlighted, and it really could reveal where aspects of who you were they're not serving you anymore. We all grow and we evolve, and that includes our rising sign as well. So the full moon is going to be illuminating things that you need to see here on the 13th. On the 16th, Mercury will move back into the sign of Aries, and it will make a conjunction with Neptune. Mercury, planet of thoughts, ideas, communication, moving into the very bold and honest sign of Aries, where we feel much more confident in acting on our thoughts and even saying what it is that we're thinking. It's conjunct Neptune. So just to be mindful that your thoughts are rooted in reality. They're rooting in something real. Maybe that your thoughts actually have something factual to back it up, and that you're not basing what you're saying and thinking off of something that's not really there, like a mirage, right? You're not saying or thinking and acting on things that may be a projection or an illusion, right? We also have on the 18th, Mars is moving into the sign of Leo. Mars, the planet of action, aggression, sexual prowess, and physical assertion or physical activity, is moving into the very bold, confident sign of Leo. So your Leo, the Leo area of your chart is definitely going to be lit up in that aspect. And we may even just feel more confident taking things on. On the 19th is when we begin the beautiful and slow, productive moving Taurus season. So that means anytime we change seasons, the sun has now transited or shifted into the sign of that season. And that means that the themes and qualities of that season are going to kind of be taking center stage. In the last week, we've got the new moon in the sign of Taurus. New moons are opportunities or blank slates to set intentions around the Taurus area of your chart. So enough with all of that. Let's get to the tarot and see how this is going to unfold for you. What does Libra need to know? Here in this first week, the Four of Cups. Here in the second week, the Two of Cups. Get the F out. The Two of Cups. Here in the third week, the Chariot. And then here in the last week, the Lovers in reverse. Okay, so I'm starting to get the feeling that maybe this is what I'm seeing here when it comes to the mirage. Maybe here in the second week, maybe you meet someone new or you come into an experience that feels like it's fate, that feels like it's destined to be yours. However, maybe moving into the fourth week, you realize that it's not really what you thought it was. Here in the first week, we've got the Four of Cups, maybe feeling a little apathetic, a little bored or frustrated with where things are right now. Venus retrograde is, again, it's having us reevaluate what it is that we value. Where have these boundaries and restrictions maybe illuminated what it is that you really value? And are you willing to do what is necessary? Are you willing to put in the time, the discipline to see those dreams through, right? The Four of Cups, feeling a little bored and apathetic. Here in the second week, the Two of Cups, feeling like you have encountered a new person or a new experience that feels like a soulmate. It feels like your fates are intertwined. You guys are on the same page. You are vibing and loving each other, right? Here in the third week, we've got the Chariot, ready to move forward, right? You really want to, you're taking control of your future, taking control of what you want to see, think, and do in the world. And you're taking that, you're taking the, taking life by the reins, and you're the one in charge, and you're ready to move forward. This is the week that you've experienced the full moon in your sign. Here in the second or fourth week, we've got the Lovers in reverse, which represents that there is a relationship or an experience that's not balanced, right? Maybe there's a little bit of codependency going on. But overall, it's a need to choose self-love over anything else. Choose what is right for you over anything else. Make a choice that is for your highest good and not for the highest good of anyone else. So let's get some clarifying energy. Wow, gosh, these flip over, but sometimes they do that. Like the material that these cards are made out of, they shuffle so beautifully, but they are really tricky because they can fly out of your hands. Here, the Four of Cups, the Four of Swords, so seeing a lot of fours, or seeing fours, and the Six of Cups in reverse. So it seems as if Venus retrograde energy and Saturn's kind of sense of, in Saturn's restriction, it's really causing this sense of boredom. Like you're like, I'm not making any headway. I'm not getting what it is that I want. And I'm kind of just over it. Right. But the Four of Swords is like, look, there's clarity that needs to happen here. So let's just take a break. Let's just accept where we are and address any emotions that are coming up. Why are you feeling like you're not going anywhere? What are you expecting to happen that's not happening? What wounds, what things are really coming up for you? What emotions, what memories are coming up for you? And take this time, maybe this leeway time, this restriction that you feel with Saturn, allow that time to show you, or to give you the time to review any old wounds or emotional blocks that could be preventing you from experiencing the present moment for what it is, for accepting the present moment for what it is, right? This, just because it's not what it seems, just because you feel these restrictions, you feel like things aren't happening, and you've kind of, like I said, taken on this sense of boredom and frustration and apathy, maybe instead of framing it with the mindset of, I'm not getting what I want, maybe look at it like, why am I struggling with this? Why am I struggling to surrender and to accept that this is just where things are right now? And you might actually really be surprised at how much accepting that relieves some of that pressure and allows maybe any emotional blocks to come through and to be healed. Here in the second week, the Two of Cups, this is, and it could be Mercury going direct in the sign of Pisces. Let's see, here we are, the Two of Cups, the Ten of Cups. So it looks as if here in the second week, this is going to be more of a realignment of values, right? Just because it's a soulmate, or it's known as the soulmate card, doesn't always mean that it's another person. It can be another emotionally fulfilling experience, right? Which can allow us to realign with what it is that we're valuing. It can help us realign with what it is that we really want to put our focus and our time and our intention into. So that's really, really lovely, especially after a period of feeling really bored and frustrated, maybe dealing with those emotional blocks, addressing why you feel frustrated in that moment can actually open the door to realigning with the things that you actually value, right? Realigning and maybe letting go of those expectations and basically getting back to work. Because here in the third week, you feel very much in control and you're ready to, as I said, take life by the reins and get going to where it is that you want to go. It's kind of like all of a sudden this ignition of desire and motivation. And that could be Mars moving into the sign of Leo. So for you guys, Leo is sitting in your 11th house, which is your house of hopes and aspirations, right? So our dreams and your aspirations can really be getting this boost of energy and motivation and drive. Here in the third week, we've got the Chariot, the Knight of Wands, taking that action and letting your guard down here with the Nine of Wands. Really decide, and look, even the person with the Chariot, they're holding a wand as well. They're holding a wand as well. So you're really taking charge and you're taking action on what it is that you desire and what it is that's actually going to make you happy as far as your future is concerned. And that actually maybe allows you to let your guard come down a little bit, right? You could be burnout and you could be exhausted, still a little not frustrated, but maybe just kind of tired because you've been working at this so long. But it's almost like you receive the necessary motivation to continue to take the necessary actions. So that's really, really nice. Here in the last week, the Lovers in reverse, the Ace of Cups, an opportunity, a new beginning of inner peace and self-love. But you have to make that choice that chooses you above all else, and the Hermit. So here, Taurus is sitting in your 8th house. This is the 8th house of like sex, death, taxes, the taboo, the occult. I heard one astrologer refer to the 8th house as like the red light district of the zodiac. All the little things that happen in the dark are all things that are supposed to be like hush hush, very taboo topics. But it can also mean energetic debt. Energetic debt that we take on maybe from other people, or maybe energetic debt that we take on from our family, those generational curses, and even things that we, because it does talk about inheritances, right? So it could be that there is an opportunity here in this 4th week with the new moon in Taurus on taking out all these distractions, removing out everything that is unnecessary, that is not for your highest good, and opening that door to healing by choosing you above all else, choosing what is right for you above all else. Okay. Here, I'm going to go with this deck. Let's get some additional oracle guidance before we wrap this up. But overall, here in the beginning of the month, nothing is what it seemed. You know, this feeling of apathy, this frustration, feeling like things aren't really going where you want them to go, that's not true. Things are going where you want them to go. It just might mean that things are still in development on the universe's part. Because remember, we are co-creators. So once we decide, the universe is like, all right, give us a minute. We got to go work this stuff out. You know? But while we have that lay time, while we're kind of in that liminal space of waiting, that is when we have an opportunity to address any blocks, worries, fears, limiting beliefs that are coming up for us. And if we address those, then it actually makes leveling up and makes achieving and coming back into a space of alignment. It makes that next level so much easier to handle. Here in the 1st week, believe in the impossible. Believe in the impossible. There's time here, I think, with this 1st week, there's a lot of sense of meditation, because the 4 of Cups can represent a need to just be out in nature, a need to just kind of sit and process the world around you. And in doing so, it could even reignite your passion for your dreams. Again, North Node in Pisces area. Going after your dreams in spite of the restrictions you feel. Conclusions are within reach, right? You're realigning with what it is that you value. You're realigning with what it is that your heart wants, right? And look at that full moon eclipse, which is actually what we just had with Virgo. But it's coming to a peak. And as a result, you're able to move forward and you're actually able to focus more on what it is that you actually value in your life. Here in the 3rd week, hold that vision. It's your time. You feel that fire, that energy ignite, and you are ready to go. You're ready to take charge and you're ready to let your guard down and make those decisions. It's like not only are you ready to move forward, but it's almost like it feels like you're willing to accept any mistakes and missteps that could come along in the process. It's almost like there's no longer this fear of failure. You're like, you know what? I could fail at this. I'm probably going to make some wrong decisions, and that's okay too, because I am not giving up. I'm letting my guard down. I'm allowing myself to be vulnerable and accept that I'm not going to be perfect at this immediately. And then here at the end, nothing will come of this situation, right? So if there is, you potentially meet a new person after maybe being separated, or there's a separation going within the family, or there's disharmony going within the family. Because Venus retrograde can bring people back from the past, as so can Mercury. But it does kind of seem like if you are meeting someone in this time space, chances are it's maybe just a moment, it's a blip in time, and it's probably just meant to teach you something that nothing's actually going to come of it. And it is just a mirage. So just keep that in mind if you do meet someone new. You know, don't risk your hard work. Don't risk your healing. Don't risk your family. Don't risk your livelihood for something that you're not entirely sure is legitimate, right? So nothing will come of this situation. A void of course moon is essentially where the moon is in between signs. And so it's kind of like this liminal space. It's kind of like the womb. Anything is possible. Things can come in and they can grow. So you really want to be mindful, and you want to make choices that are for your highest good, because it's going to provide an opportunity for healing and fulfillment without, in a way that is much more aligned and rooted in something real versus rooted in a fantasy or illusion. So I truly hope this helped, Libra. I think this is an incredible reading. Like I said, it really feels like you're kind of dropping this fear of failure, and you're finally you're ready to move forward. You're feeling really fired up, especially around the time of the full moon. So I love this for you. I hope you guys have an incredible month, and we will see you next time.